start tonight with breaking news that we continue to follow of a shooting at a large event in downtown Seattle that's now turned deadly. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm John Adams. 2 people were killed and 5 others hurt at Bite of Seattle at the Seattle Center this afternoon. Shots were first reported just after 6 tonight, and there's been a heavy police presence in the area. No word yet on a potential suspect or if anyone is in custody. 3 events are taking place at Seattle Center this weekend, the largest of which is Bite of Seattle, a free annual event that attracts hundreds of thousands of people.
Just heard what at first sounded like firecrackers, but it's just a little too crowded for that kind of thing. So then when the crowd started moving quickly in herds, you knew something was happening. So we got down and took cover, and it was about, I'd say, 6, maybe 12 to 15 shots maybe.
It went from somewhere being so playful and joyful to something being so horrific, and I seen people on the floor trying to take cover. Like, I heard a bang, 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 and then yelling, just straight yelling.
Among the injured there, a 2-year-old boy. One victim is undergoing surgery tonight. Stay with KGW for the latest developments. Wildfires continue to grow near Warm Springs, about 2 hours east of Portland. The Emergency Conflagration Act has now been invoked for the Beachcomb and Bench fires, which have since merged together. RJ Coulter went down to Warm Springs and brings us the latest.
Fire still actively burning here in Warm Springs, but the scene overnight was even crazier. You can see the charred earth. Fire was right where I'm standing, and that means that fire even went over Highway 26, closing the roadway overnight. It reopened this morning, and you can see all of the damage on the other side as well.
When I observed the fire getting on the top of that ridge and it started to get closer and closer, my level of stress kind of increased a little bit.
Longtime Warm Springs resident William Wilson capturing the Bench Beachcomb fire inching closer to his house. His home in an evacuation zone.
I made a decision myself as a prior firefighter to stay here in my home and make a stand to protect it.
You can see where the burn stopped on the hill. Wilson proud of work he did as a firefighter, clearing brush and trees that helped stop the fire from advancing further down.
That created, 200 feet of defensible space for just a situation like this. We never knew if it was going to happen or not, but when it does happen, those lines are there and available.
And while Wilson's home and neighborhood have been spared for now, the area hasn't gone untouched. The flames eating everything but the chimney at this home off Disney Lane. Thankfully, officials tell me no one was living here at the time. Fire officials say about 2,400 people have been evacuated because of these fires.
Overnight, we have the Beachcomb fire, which blew across to the east side due to erratic winds that went up to 30 miles per hour. We have the Bench fire, which shot up, north as well. These 2 fires overnight have merged into one.
Last counts had the Bench fire at 6,200 acres and the Beachcomb fire at 2,300 acres. But now that they've grown and merged, officials say those numbers could have doubled, but heavy smoke has prevented accurate mapping. About 250 people are working to control these fires, including by helicopter.
We did have fire retardant drop along here, which has been successful. 4 crews overnight, and down south we do have crews working on hand lines all the way down to the river to reinforce this area, basically.
Information on property damage is still being collected and will be released soon. Jake Holter, KGW News.
The Bench fire is just one of over 100 fires burning across the state of Oregon right now. We're also getting this frightening video from the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office showing flames coming from the Roe Creek Complex fire near Fossil, Oregon. The complex, which is a combination of numerous fires that we have discussed this week, is now over 208,000 acres in size. That's more than twice the size of the city of Portland. The fire was started by a lightning strike 11 days ago. It's now 31% contained. There are still level 1, 2, and 3 evacuation levels in place. More than 1,500 personnel are still working the Akawa Butte fire burning near Sisters. Crews using heavy equipment continue to strengthen containment lines today. Teams plan to have control lines fully in place around the 27,000-acre fire by the end of the day. And here are photos of the grasshopper fire burning in the Mount Hood National Forest near Pine Hollow. This fire has now reached 4,500 acres, but as of this morning had not reached any homes. There are level 3 go now evacuation orders in place.
You know, it's an honor for us to be able to open these at the request of County Emergency Management when we set up to make sure that folks have a safe place to go for shelter and for meals and other community resources when these fires are happening.
And Sisters, the local high school has been serving as the evacuation site for the Akawa Butte fire. For almost a week, the school has been home to about 100 people. With the help of the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, they are able to get a hot meal and take a shower.
We're here to serve, and we are just so honored to be here, and especially you know, to serve the families that are being displaced in this situation. We want to provide them a hot meal and a bottle of water or juice, and just to let them know that they're not alone.
The Red Cross is up to 6 shelters to take care of those who have been evacuated. The Salvation Army has been serving over 50 meals every lunch and dinner since Thursday, equating to almost 450 meals total. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joining us tonight. Joe, any relief on the way for folks battling these wildfires?
You know, I wish that I could say there's just going to be a series of storms that moves through that's just going to dump in, you know, an inch and a half of rain, but that's just not going to happen, especially along the east side of the state. This is a look at the map that shows you pretty much all the active wildfires that are burning across the Pacific Northwest, and it really is turned a switch just a couple of weeks ago. We started off relatively quiet, and then right around mid-July or so is when that monsoonal flow started to roll through and sparked dozens of thunderstorms over the last couple of weeks, and those thunderstorms had lightning associated with it, and there you go. You start to see those wildfires started from lightning strikes. The smoke forecast is going to kind of improve a little bit throughout parts of the Deschutes County area, but the more east you go along the Oregon-Idaho border, those smoke is going to be pretty thick here the next few days or so. Because of that, air quality alert is still in effect until late morning tomorrow. It expires at 11 a.m. And in terms of winds, it'll be light overnight and into tomorrow, but the winds are expected to pick up again tomorrow afternoon. There will be a light marine layer along the morning hours throughout parts of the coast and the valley, but going into the later part of the afternoon, a lot of sunshine, and that sunshine really carries over into much of this upcoming week. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. Stay with KGW for ongoing coverage this wildfire season as dozens of fires continue to burn. Look for updates on KGW.com with the latest evacuations and progress toward containment. An unfortunate update on a crash investigation from Friday night. Portland police say one of the 2 motorcycle riders involved in that crash has died of their injuries. It happened around 11:15 Friday night at St. Helens Road and Northwest Front Avenue. Both riders were hospitalized with critical injuries. The investigation is still ongoing. And developing this weekend, Salem police are asking people to report if they've been encountered by a serial luring suspect. The department says around 11:40 yesterday, a woman was approached by a man in a white Toyota Corolla who asked if she wanted to get in that car. Social media video being shared shows similar luring attempts toward minors. Police say they've spoken with the driver and are reviewing past reports, but ask anyone with more information to share what they know. An all clear has been given for a part of Happy Valley that was ordered to shelter in place due to a fire. Clackamas Fire was called to the city's Public Works Operations building just before noon today. The building contained lawnmowers, gasoline, and other park maintenance equipment. Firefighters got it under control in less than an hour, but people nearby were called and advised to stay indoors because of the smoke. There were no reported injuries. Well, this weekend, protests and vigils were held in more than a dozen cities across the nation against the federal government's immigration crackdown and recent killings by ICE agents. That includes earlier today in Beaverton. The organizers, Indivisible Beaverton, wanted to call attention to those people killed, but also to stand with immigrant families and those in ICE custody. They say despite some announced changes, that's not the full truth.
We are still arresting and detaining tens of thousands of people illegally. So I'm not persuaded at all anything's different.
Organizers also turned this rally into a food drive with donations to be distributed to local immigrant families. Well, let's take a live look at Highway 14 in Vancouver. There's a closure of the westbound lane tonight between exit 4 for Lisa Road and exit 3 for Evergreen Boulevard. This is so crews can repair and replace old damaged asphalt. The road is expected to reopen around 4 tomorrow morning. And a traffic reminder for Portland drivers, the Morrison Bridge shut down Friday evening to all vehicle traffic while crews do strengthening work on the bridge. It's scheduled to reopen around 5 Tuesday morning. The other bridges are available to use as alternatives.